preaching next door.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yes.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Sunday Spotlight. It's a beautiful day outside. I don't know if you're down at Afram. I don't know what you're doing, whatever it is that you're getting on. But if you're not doing something, you're wrong. Definitely wrong. We've had some hot days over the last couple of weeks. Today is actually perfect. Weather is off the chain today. Traffic off the chain as well because everybody's out and moving. But we're here. We're going to have a great show. We got a few things to talk about, and our whole theme for the month has changed, so let's go ahead and get into this show. So let me start by saying good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Spotlight, brought to you by the One More, One Less Mentoring Program. I'm your host/mentor, Mr. Tony Hinton, and my co-host, Mr. Charles Pratt, is running a little late because he's in that traffic, but he will be here eventually. So safe travels to you, Mr. Charles, until you get here. Definitely that. We hope you had a great week, and we look forward to getting you started on another good note and leaving you with some things to think about as we embark on this new week. However, before we get started on today's journey, let me give a shout out to the One More, One Less Mentoring Program. We're the sponsors of the Sunday Spotlight, so take some time to check us out. And let's give a shout out to our guest for today's episode, Miss Donyello. Is it Donyello?
Donyello, it is.
Donyello Brown, founder of the Cody Young Empowerment Youth Charities, and Miss Monique Mitchell, Executive Director, of the Cody Young Foundation. This program provides mentorship and safe housing for youth and mothers who have been affected by gun violence in Maryland. I know you guys do a lot more than that, but we'll get into that once we get to your segment. How you ladies doing today?
Great. Thank you.
Great. So glad you could make it on this Sunday afternoon when you could have been doing so much more. But that's all right.
Thank you for having me.
This is a good cause right here, so definitely that. So definitely want to thank you guys for being with us today. Now, the Sunday Spotlight is all about addressing the issues our young people face and empowering not only them, but you, the listeners, with solid information to build solid foundations and a sense of purpose for not only our young people, but for you as well. And we're serious about our business. The Sunday Spotlight not only talks about the social issues facing our youth, we present the organizations, programs, and the people who are making a positive difference in changing the mindset of our youth and our communities, not just here in Baltimore City, but throughout the country. Now, with every new month comes a new theme for the month. So the theme for August focuses on education, because we know our school will be starting soon, our youth will be heading back, and we want our youth and you to be aware and understand and relate to the changes going on in education. We will also be addressing the question of the day. That question is, are we as parents doing enough when it comes to keeping up with the proposed changes in today's public education? Once again, that question is, are we as parents doing enough when it comes to keeping up with the proposed changes in today's public education? So we'll get to that question in a little bit. It'll take some time to really think about that. You can comment on our Facebook page. You can hit up our guests if they got their stuff going. Whatever you want to do, we don't care. Just get your comments in here. Definitely do that. However, before we get started with today's show, I want to quickly give a shout out to everyone who makes this show possible, Mr. Ron Beezer and the entire One More, One Less Mentoring Program, which is us. Yes. And, of course, our program manager, DJ Big Nick, and the MIXXSTATION radio family. We also want to remind you this is a live studio broadcast, and we will be streaming on various social media outlets like our own One More, One Less Facebook page, MIXXSTATION Radio, Instagram, and various other social media outlets. Now, understand this. We want your input and your feedback. I'm going to say it again. We want your input and your feedback. So don't hesitate or be afraid to hit us up and join in on our conversation. You can hit us up directly on our OMOL Facebook page, or you can call us here at the station at 1-855-493-6499. Again, that number is 1-855-493-6499. And, of course, that number is at the bottom of the page if you are looking at us or streaming us live. So don't be afraid to call in and just say what you got to say. Everybody has a fair comment. Everybody has an opinion. So don't be afraid to share your thoughts. So let's get this show started. We'll give you a quick breakdown of the show real quick. So here's the breakdown for the show. Yes! Yes, I am not alone. I am not alone.
What's up, good people?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
And Mr. Charles has just entered the building.
Yeah.
Yes, so we have Monique Mitchell here. And we have Donyello Brown here. So I'm just glad you showed up. Glad you could make it. I know you're busy. So, man, just appreciate you being here.
All right, what we talking about?
Oh, yeah. Just fill you in. So the theme for this month's education. Question of the day is a doozy.
All right, talk to me.
Okay, I'll give it to you real quick. Let me give it to you real quick. It's a doozy question. Question is for the day is, are we as parents doing enough when it comes to keeping up with the proposed changes being made in today's public education?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a little deep. It's a little deep. So y'all think about that. I know it's a little thick. You might do some research and think about that. And we're going to get into it. But here's a quick breakdown of the show. We start off each episode with a roundtable discussion and then get into a break. Once we return, we get right back into it with our guests. From there, depending on how the conversation is flowing, we'll take another short break and close out the show with answers to the question of the day and or your thoughts. So that's usually how we roll it. Not to say it's going to happen that way, but that's the plan. But we'll see how it goes. So let's get this show started with our roundtable discussion, pretty much. Let's see here. How am I going to throw this question out on you guys? It's going to be painful.
No painful. We got this.
You got this.
Absolutely, man.
Real quick reminder, give us a call, 1-855-493-6499. Again, that number is 1-855-493-6499. Hit us up, baby. Hit us up. All right, so first question of the day, and I don't know if well, Charles, you just got in, so I'll give you a break.
Go. Just go.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, so when we're talking about education, do you feel, and this is for everybody, do you feel today's educational curriculum fits the needs of today's youth? If not, what do you feel is missing, and or what do you think we need to do to make it better? Yeah, baby. What's that? what you got?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Right.
They are hindering our children tremendously.
Absolutely.
All they do is teach our kids how to test.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They don't give them skills.
Absolutely.
Home ec, gone. The arts, disappearing. Workshop. I've never heard. The only person I know that does workshop is still Mervo.
Mervo's the only one?
That's the only.
Well, there's some vocational schools.
I'm
too.
sure it is, but
That's what we're limited to at this
you
point.
see what I'm saying? So they're not teaching our kids the right history. They're only teaching them the white history. Okay, y'all know how I get down there. Y'all know I come in here spicy.
Right there.
Y'all know I come in here
That's it right
spicy.
there.
I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see the shirt, Black Panther, baby.
Power,
Wakanda forever. You know what I mean?
power.
But yeah, they are hindering our children tremendously. I don't understand this. The same way they were teaching children like in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, the same way they try to treat them. Teach them in 2019. Are you kidding me? Wow. Then you throw a couple computer screens in the classroom. Well, we tech
savvy now, right? Tech savvy.
Get out of here.
Yeah, right,
it's
right.
Bull.
Absolutely,
you know it.
yeah,
I agree with you. I think that
so what do you think?
taking out the fundamentals. I grew up with pottery. I know how to make a bowl if need necessary.
Right.
I grew up with wood crafting, so it taught me certain skills that I could use perhaps as an adult, but it gave me fundamentals. And I think what is happening with the school system is a lot of times these kids, they're pushing them through the system for the ratings,
just to get them out the system.
just to get them out the system, just to get the schools to be looked at. In some schools, the funding matters and things of this nature, but we're not focusing on the need of that child.
Right.
And once we begin to as parents and as people in the public redefine what we want for our kids, that's when it's going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
We have to become that in which now is the teacher, the counselor, the guidance counselors, have that involvement all the way around. And it's sad because at one point you could trust the schools when you dropped your kids off.
Right.
Now you can't. There's a disconnect.
Right.
And so my prayer is that they do bring back things like you were saying.
The home ec, the skill set, the
skills,
music,
basic
the vocational piece
typing.
that we should know.
You had typing. Now
My
it's
knuckles,
just
come on now, my
dotting the
knuckles
phone.
still hurt.
Come on now.
My teacher, she ain't played. She actually had the yardstick. She reached
right?
I remember.
Pop them fingers. Put your hands right.
Hands up. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I remember, and it's ironic you say that because I had a situation in, I was in the, the track and field or something they had in the school, and we had to climb the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
Field day?
In the gym.
Field day?
No,
Oh,
this was just regular
Oh,
gym.
just regular gym.
Regular gym. Okay.
Yeah, and we literally had to climb the ropes. And it taught you endurance.
Yeah.
It taught you how to pull your own self up. You know, it taught you how to build your own strength and that you can do anything. And now we don't. Our
Right.
kids
And that's
don't even-
dying too. In
That's
some
dying
sense.
too.
Yeah. Phys ed used to be every
Yeah.
day.
Every day.
Every day at school. Now it's
Every
like
day.
every other day. Or twice.
A week, yeah.
Or twice a week.
I completely agree with you. I think that, especially in our city, or I guess nationwide, they are taught to take tests.
Yeah.
And they're failing on skill levels. So when we talk about the school system specifically for Baltimore City, when you find fifth graders who are on kindergarten and third grade reading levels and math levels, but they are being taught how to take the PARCC test. And that's failing. Like you guys said, we had those skills and it taught us what our gifts were. And it taught us what we were good at. And that's what built confidence in us to be able to go out.
And gave some
That's
direction
right.
or where you
That's
might
right.
want to
Where you might
head
wanna
or
go in
what you
life.
might, your interest might be or whatever, what you might, like you said, what you might be skilled at, because mechanically you might be the greatest thing ever, but, you may lack in some other skills. But it
if you don't have
allows you to
anybody
pull
pouring
something
into
out.
you in that, then
Right.
Those tests,
Right.
they don't measure the wholeness of our children.
No.
And they don't even take into consideration what our children, specifically in Baltimore, are dealing with in reference to trauma or just what they're dealing with at home.
Yeah.
Right,
So how
right.
can they measure against other kids in other regions in this area or counties in this area?
In Maryland specifically.
Exactly.
Right.
In Maryland specifically, if all of the child holistically is not taken into consideration.
Right. Which, yeah, definitely understand that part of it because, it when you look at today's teachers and what they're faced with and what they're dealing with, you have a lot of kids that, they're good at home or whatever the case may be, but they out of control there, So when you're disciplining more than you're teaching, how can you focus on actually giving them the skills that they need and stuff like that? So when we look at that question and we ask that second part of it, or should I say the third part of it, what can we do to make it better? What are your thoughts? What do you think we need? And I'll start with you. Since you finished up, we'll start with you. What you think, Ms. Mitchell?
I don't know if I have the answer, honestly.
Oh, there's no right answer. It's just thoughts on what you think might be a catalyst to help things
I have
move
to go
forward.
back to say it starts at home because the teacher's responsibility, is to teach and educate. But it's our responsibility as parents and family leaders to educate everywhere. So we have to educate with respect, and we have to put the demand and the standard on at home that you're not going to act a fool in school.
Right.
You're going to go to school to learn. That's how it was when we were there. School is for learning. It's not for you to act out. You act out once you come home and you're on the playground.
Right.
And if we are stern, kindly, because back in the day we used to get
you get
right.
whooped.
Right.
We used to get
With a
whooped
tree branch.
by a couple of people, not just mom.
The
By a
whole
couple of people,
family be
right.
up on you. Like,
So we can't do that now. So I guess politically sternly, we have to just really set the standard at home and parent. We've lost parenting, and I can even say, I can look I have grown kids and then I have an 11-year-old. So I can look at how the generations merge. So 3 different generations, mine, my 20-year-olds, and then my 11-year-old. But we all listen to the same music. We all watch the same shows. And it wasn't like that growing up. My mom had her music and I had my music. But it's all merged together. So there's a breakdown.
Yeah, I agree with you on that end. But in the same token, depending on your household, it is different. Because I know with my own son, he has his own type of rap music that he likes, and I have my own. But I still listen to it. But it's not exactly what I like. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with
that. But you know, I understand because my parents said the same thing when rap first started, when hip hop first started, and they were trying to figure out what is this, you know, because their generation was R&B and ballads and stuff like that. And now you have this new concept, and we're all into it. But they're trying to what does that mean? What are they saying? You know, so that to see it come full circle, it's like crazy. I was like,
don't worry about what OPT means.
You know what I'm saying?
You become your parents. That is true.
You know,
we become our parents.
So definitely that. What are your thoughts, Ms. Brown?
I really think that we need to get more involved as community leaders and people in the community in the schools. I think that there should be more of a presence. I think that well, for me personally, when I was in school, I knew such and such a their mom would be up at the school, or my mom would be checking in daily just to know what's going on. I think also you got to make school relatable to children now. It just can't be the educational factor. You got to go in because what they're experiencing at home, a lot of them don't have that same home value and balance. So we got to take that in regard. And we got to go in there and restructure the way we're thinking. So if whoever child, you know, let's just use a name off the top of my head, Michael doesn't have someone at home that can really guide him. You know, we have literacy is educational, it's everywhere. So if he doesn't have that at home, then there should be someone in that school that he can attach to, that can direct him and guide him. It should not be that it's a void. And I think another thing that you and I spoke with is beginning to show children entrepreneurship early on.
Yeah,
we have too many kids on a corner. What they want is to become an entrepreneur. What their heart is saying is, I can't win over here because educational system failed them. So let's begin to show them in our school system how to take what they have and develop it into become an entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely now, like you said, I do definitely agree with you on that. Yeah. As far as them being entrepreneurs, I think it's more about for them. It's about making some money of some sort. They didn't have any no thoughts, but if we push them forward towards, hey, this is what entrepreneurship is. What you're doing is already taking those first steps by, you know, washing the car windows or whatever it is that you're doing. You already made the first moves. Now, how can we put a plan to that so that you make more money and can, sustain your business and make it better? So, yes.
So that goes into a campaign that we're actually getting ready to launch with the. Am I going too ahead of myself?
No. If you want to shed light, that's fine. But if you want to hold on, that's fine too. We can wait till we get into it. But you want to let that secret go? Hey, whatever.
We'll hold it.
You want to hold it to that segment? You want to hold it?
But I think that we are on the same page as to what Donyello and I were speaking about what we think we need to do in order to help the city out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what are your thoughts, Charles? What do you think? What do you think we need to do to make it better?
I mean, the young lady just said it. I mean, we have to be more engaged. We have to, if we see our kids aren't getting the education that they should, we need to work harder in order to change the way the system is. Absolutely. I mean, this is what we employ government officials for.
Right.
We pay our tax dollars.
Public educational representatives. I can't believe I'm an old
man saying this.
What?
I'm paying my tax dollars.
You saying that right?
But for real though, look, if I feel like my kids are just, like we said earlier, are just testing to just test or learning to test, or that's it, and there's no. They're trying to throw all these brand new concepts, which I'm okay with a little bit. It's like that Common Core.
I was gonna say that.
Right.
It shouldn't take me 20 minutes to do a 2-digit multiplication
problem.
You know what I'm saying?
It's exactly what I was
saying.
But
but at the same time, it's we have to hold our officials accountable. We have to put,
we do.
The right educational people in place.
Exactly.
Like running the show.
Right. And it starts all the way. It starts from teachers. It goes to the principals, the district people, you know what I'm saying? Everybody down at North Avenue and all the other, you know what I'm saying, places around, you know, the country, and even up to the federal government. Like, look, especially with the federal government.
Yeah,
I mean,
where
like,
most of the changes are happening.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
unfortunately,
we will spend trillions upon trillions of dollars to make sure that, you know, we got like the best jet. But if you're not educated,
defense,
you know what I'm saying? We pour trillions of dollars into defense,
to the military and defense of that,
and
but we can't do it into the education
priorities.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on. Like, I understand the safety aspect or whatever, but come on.
Right.
Us.
Right.
What you got,
Can
Ms.
I say
Brown?
something
Yes,
to
go
that?
ahead, Ms. Brown. You got it.
We have to, as a black people, understand
Talk about
it
it.
is designed.
Talk about
and
it.
until we understand that we need to be on the other side of that, see, certain things are designed for our failure.
Yes.
So we have to take authority and say, oh, no, I am not going there. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I don't care how tough it gets. Some of us, you know, and granted, some of us have not even, and I'm guilty, picked up a book because I look at stuff on my phone or I look at other things that are being sent to me. But there is something about picking up that book.
Yes, it is.
And reading it and engaging in it.
Smell of the
for
paper.
yourself.
Feel
For
the
yourself.
page.
Right.
For
And
yourself.
then not stopping there, also doing the research.
And doing the research.
To find out more information, because not everything that we look at on our phone is true.
It's true.
You know, it may give you some idea, and we talked about this last week with our last guest. That you know, sometimes we have to wonder: do our kids, since they're on the internet and they're on Facebook or on Instagram on regular, do they take these things as truth?
They do.
Which unfortunately they shouldn't, and we as parents should be telling them, like, look, everything you see on there is not truth. You know what I'm saying? So definitely on that. All right, I'm gonna go to this next question. This is a little deeper, and then we're gonna go ahead and go from there. I'm not really checking the time because we're having a good conversation right here. So
I know Nick gonna kick us out.
so here's question number 2. This is an interesting one, I thought. Should parents' involvement in their children's education be mandatory?
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, you only got your. Okay.
I'm just saying it's not right now, but we don't mandate that it's mandatory. We
Oh,
it's
like okay,
not
like this,
not like that.
Like,
I'm saying should the educational system
okay.
or schools make it mandatory for parents to be involved in their child's education
as much as they
as
can.
far as when it comes with the school, where you're talking like PTAs, being at all the PTAs. Checking in with counselors, checking in with teachers, and forming those partnerships. Because another piece of that is, you know, how do we get the parents and the teachers on the same page if they never come to the schools? Because you know it's always about, oh, what did you do to my child? Where it used to be like you was on the teacher's side. But back in the day, like, what did you do that the teacher had to discipline you? Now it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
I can't.
We deserve that one, huh? But you know, it's interesting. So
I agree.
So do you think it should be mandatory?
We should definitely be mandated. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid to even to have that thought that it has to be mandated. It should be something that's just innate. You know what I'm saying? It should be like period. Like, I get it. You know, there are parents out here who work, you know, weird schedules. They got different jobs, 2 jobs. You know what I'm saying? Other responsibilities. You know what I'm saying?
Single parent
households. You know, even double parent households. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just gets complicated. You know what I'm saying? So yes, we should be as involved as it needs to be, or as it should be, depending on
the situation,
depending on your status. You know what I'm saying? Because if we want our kids to be held accountable for the stuff that they do in school, we have to have that same kind of bridge between the teachers, the parents, the kid. You know what I'm saying? That's what lifts them up, because we're not just, you know, oh, well, the kid would be thinking like, well, shoot, I can get away with stuff at school because at home I can't. Or vice versa. Like, I can get away with stuff at home because mom and daddy not there, but in school, my teacher don't play. If we have that cohesion, be like, okay, look, you ain't gonna play here and you ain't gonna play there.
That's right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nick,
you know what I think they should do? You know how they have it where when the kids got ADHD and they got to do a
IEP meeting.
IEP.
Yeah.
Why can't they just have a meeting for every parent
child.
once a quarter for
They used to
every
do
child?
that. They used to do that, and they do have, but they don't show.
But they don't show.
It should be mandatory.
It should.
You
I
know
get
what?
it.
That's what we were saying.
That's what we
In
were saying,
private
like-
and parochial schools, it's mandatory. You
Right.
have
That would
to
change
give like
the game.
20 hours per school
Yeah,
year.
we do gotta change the game.
And if it's even if it's not like a single mom, maybe the grandmother or the
Right.
brother or
Some
somebody
adult,
has
some
to
adult
come
has to
and
show.
give their time to the school. But these are schools that you're paying for your child to go to,
Right, you're
and they're
talking about
still requiring you to come
privatized schools
Yeah, you have to
and
do an
stuff of that
activity.
thing.
Charter schools are doing it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But our
They
city
are.
schools
It should be a
or
requirement.
Public
yeah,
schools
public schools
don't
because,
do it.
because
They don't
the
do
parents
it.
need to be more responsible for their kids.
Absolutely.
right.
And maybe a lot of these problems that we have in this city and all around the world
Talk about
probably
it.
won't happen.
Talk
You're
about
right.
it.
Real talk.
Yeah, but it goes back to that whole point when you have youth having youth. You know, kids having kids.
But-
how can you teach what's never been taught to you?
You know what?
And that's
it.
the problem. So you
That-
have a
that is true.
generational problem.
Generational
But
problem.
when you were
That's
saying
that's
that,
that's our fault though.
that is our fault.
That's our fault.
Yeah, we
Because-
gotta take.
That's our
we gotta
fault.
take
That's-
blame.
That's our fault.
in part.
I mean, I'm gonna call a thing a thing. That's our fault because, like we talked about several shows ago. You know what I'm saying? Like we gave them the technology, but we did not give them responsibility. So now, like you said, we got the babies having babies. It's our responsibility as the older adults to be like, try to step in somehow.
You'll
know what I'm
wash
saying?
them dishes.
What,
Oh, man.
you know what I think too
Right.
is that we grew up sometimes less fortunate.
We did.
So we want to give our kids everything.
Absolutely.
And giving our kids everything is one of the worst things, trust me, you could possibly do, because what it allows them to do is always have a need for you and not being able to stand on their own. And then they make these decisions that you're the one ends up having to bail them out of because they don't have the fundamental tools to get it. But when you were saying something about being held responsible, I think what they need to do is use it like jury duty. You don't show up
Oh.
Yeah.
or pay a
That's
price.
an FTA.
Oh.
Like that.
We
You
need
get an
to
FTA.
Fine 'em.
whoever's
Fine 'em.
out there in education.
Oh, you just got a ticket.
We need to get the jury duty mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We got so
Without-
many jurors. Everybody can call me 15,000 times to show up for a case.
Right.
But can you call me 15,000 times to show up for my child?
Come
Right.
on.
Well, they
Let's
shouldn't
be
have to.
honest.
I think that's the key. They
Well,
were saying they shouldn't have to.
but
As
here's
a
the-
parent, we know
But
it's
I
our
think-
responsibility
but
to
it-
be involved.
and it-
but it does. I'm sorry. It
Yeah,
does
go
go
ahead,
back
go ahead.
to what you were saying about if they've not been educated as to what a parent is,
Yes.
or how. And we've always had babies having babies. You know,
That-
it
well, that's
goes
why I
back
said it's
years and
beyond
years.
that. It
Yeah,
goes back generations.
Right. It goes
And
back
that's why I said
generations.
that.
So what has caused it to break down this far? Where
Well, you had the breakdown of the black family.
there you go. That's true.
That's it,
Very
right?
true.
That was the cause. That was the thing that pushed it to where it was. Not to say we didn't have kids getting in trouble back then, but not on the level that we have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
It's nowhere where you could have a fight the individual, whatever.
Right,
So
and
all
it's
of a sudden
over with.
it's over. It's done. You might
Right.
end up being best buddies after that.
Right.
Maybe.
no more.
You know what I'm saying? Not no more. Now
No
it's
fighting.
like I got to bring a gun to the
I
fight.
gotta kill 'em.
Or what? If you have to do that,
Even
But
if you win the fight.
because of the breakdown of the black family, with the fathers being over here, whatever, not involved, or they did whatever, or vice versa with the moms. You don't have that camaraderie. You don't have that sit down mentality, camaraderie to talk about the issues and things going on in school or things with the youth or with their lives. It's not shared because you don't have that institution. So when we lost that institution, you lost the black family.
You did.
And
You see what I'm saying?
And that's very
And
true.
that's when that breakdown, or that generational breakdown began.
Right. And
with kids
and
having kids.
A lot of that, like you said, it had to do with a lot of higher powered things that happened. Like you spoke about earlier, that happened, like when welfare came onto the scene, and how, it was just like, okay, well, if you got two people working, why are you on welfare?
Yeah.
And then boom, they pushed the fathers out of the home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I say this all the time. We only been free for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I think we've never been
We're
free.
not free.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I say free, the quotations is definitely implied.
We got a little
right.
bit more access.
We got a little more
Right.
access.
Right.
So, it. unfortunately, it's going to take a couple more generations.
Oh yeah.
For our people to really get a mindset of like, you know what? We can't keep moving the same way we've been moving.
And you know what I call that? I call that generational
What, genocide?
no
Generational
I just had
Curses.
it in my mind. Generational survivor.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
true.
And we
Generational
talked
survival.
about that 2 shows ago.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
the same
yeah, I
thing that
remember,
worked
yeah.
for grandma, grandpa ain't the same way to work for our mom and dads. And the same way the same thing don't work for us.
Right.
So the same thing ain't gonna work for our kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of stacked against us, but we have this resiliency in us.
Yes.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We have this power.
Absolutely.
Like, you give us lemon, we gonna give you a lemon grove.
Come on.
Right.
Like, we're
Yeah.
not just gonna make no lemonade. We're gonna make a whole grove. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And-
We've been
and
taught that.
We've been taught that.
Yes.
So it's that mentality. It's that universal collective mentality as black people that we need to get together and be like, you know what?
Which is,
if
it's
they can do,
crazy.
if the Asians can move the way
Which
they
they
need to
do.
move, if the
Why can't the
Latinos,
Why can't
if
the
the Jewish community can move like they move, if the white community can move like they move, we can do the same thing. Are there going to be even more challenges? Absolutely, because they don't want the status quo changed.
Right.
Right. So they put those
they try
things
to-
in there to break
Yes,
us apart.
Exactly.
The liquor stores on
the
every
liquor
corner.
stores, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Can I say something about that?
Yes.
Because
Go
when I mentor young people, especially on the street corners, and she can attest to this, I half the time don't even go with the conversation of stop your violence, put your gun down. I go with the conversation that store you're standing in front of should be the store you should be owning.
How about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
a whole
what
different
we
perspective.
Need to begin to
How about it?
employ
Change the perspective.
and change the perspective.
We have to change
And
the
when you
perspective.
give a person hope and you show them in love, you'd be surprised how many young women and young men do not know how to hug a woman or a person just in genuine trust and love. They think that there's a motive behind it, and they don't know what it feels like. You have to show them again what real love, with real understanding, with real entrepreneurship, with real ownership looks like. Not $10 for a
Right.
hit.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to start changing the mindset and the trajectory. When gangs were created, and I say this, and I don't always say it on every platform, but let's be honest. I'm 50, so we created a lot of these Bloods and Crips, whatever. They did not create it for this.
Right.
They did not create it to take each other out.
Right.
They created it to take and redevelop and recreate their communities and have ownership in the community, to own the liquor store, to own the laundromat, to own the barbershop, to own the hair salon, to own the Walgreens, to own the Rite Aid, to own the McDonald's. We did not start it to take each other out. Because when you take each other out, nobody can own anything.
Right. So you say that was a mentality when gangs first started?
When they first started,
yeah, when they first
I
started.
thought it was
started.
more or less.
No, like the
something
Bloods and
different.
Crips, man, the Blood. Man, they was,
No, they're doing great things. They were doing great things
Yeah.
when what's the call that passed away? That he was
Talking about,
uniting.
right. Yeah,
what's his name?
Nipsey.
Nipsey.
But we're talking about
But-
that. Yeah.
But yeah,
20
okay,
yeah,
I
that's the
agree.
conversation.
I agree with
Yeah.
you on some aspects of that, but not totally. But
Okay.
that's opinion.
Yeah.
That's opinion. I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that. But I also think too that you had formations of gangs because like I said before, to break down the family, they needed a male role model,
Yeah.
and when they couldn't get their mom or whoever to understand, or their grandparents understand where they're coming from. The guy next door understood because he was going through the same thing.
Right.
And the guy down the
Right.
street understood
Right.
because he was going through the same thing. And they needed what you said, that hug or that that
Yeah.
community piece. I need to feel involved about something. And so they
Right.
became what they became, not for, I don't think it was necessary for entrepreneurship, but I think it's just more for camaraderie.
Right.
Someone who understood exactly what I was facing because they were facing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Now,
And you're both
could
right,
it
honestly.
branched?
Like, you're
but
both right.
I'm saying, but I
Like,
don't think
love
their
it.
intent initially was
Right.
for ownership. But like you said earlier, changing their perspective, like you said, and bring and say, look, you can own that. liquor store.
Instead of
Right.
keep going to A
Right.
Ma,
I believe.
Ma, Ma.
I definitely agree
I'm
with
just
you.
going to say from the people I grew up with.
Oh, okay.
So I ain't always grow up look like this, okay? They were people that reestablished in their communities to own something.
Right.
Quite a few I know have successful barbershops, have successful nightclubs or places of that.
Oh,
that
you're talking the end game.
I'm talking about turning the mindset around.
Okay.
We can no longer. If you take a life, you don't know what that life could have given
I'm telling
you.
Right.
Telling
That's
right.
the mindset I'm trying to get these young people in. He could have been doing something, helping you or whatever.
Right.
You take it, it's all gone. There's nothing else left. So when I say that, I think we need to get young people to realize you done messed up the game.
Mm-hmm.
You done messed up the way that this thing was all positioned in your life, and you've taken it and you just devalued it. You devalue life. And when you devalue anything, then nothing can grow. There's nothing, you can't plan anything.
Right.
Every
There's no
generation,
balance.
there's no balance. There's no balance.
Got you.
So,
Excellent discussion. Love that.
love this
that. Well, like I said, time is flowing. And we got to get into their story and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and take a break once again. I don't know where you guys at. You should be in this conversation. I hope you will pick up your phones or start putting those comments on there. So definitely hit us up. Like I said, the number's at the bottom of the screen. If you don't have the number, 1-855-493-6499. And we'll be right back with the Sunday Spotlight. You want to see this story where you